Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I've been in the sick bay for a couple of weeks. I'm not fully back up to 100%, but let's see if I remember how to do this nevertheless. So on the right hand side of the screen, we have our current to-do list. First port of call is going to be the milestone for oil, so that's going to kick us off nicely. And then we're going to look into getting a little bit of quartz crystal and quick wire just kind of temporarily on the go and feeding into a dimensional depot just so we can have it to build our new pipeline with. So let's then take a quick look at the milestones. So we're going to be doing oil processing, of course. It's going to give us access to finding out where oil is and various different things you can make from it, such as plastic and rubber. They're going to be some of the most important things we want to get early on. So we'll just select the milestone, toss in our new motors from the motor factory, our encased industrial beams, our steel pipe, and our copper sheet. We'll kick that off. Now, on the right-hand side of the screen, we also have the desert pipeline and the spire coast pipeline, a distribution building, and then setting up plastic, rubber, a little bit of fuel, and see if we can get some of those fuel generators built as well. Now, in order to do that, we're actually going to need the next milestone. Fluid, actually, technically not even this one, we'll need this one, petroleum power, so we can get ourselves the fuel-powered generators and scan for deuterium and things like that. I think we can already do that thanks to the MAM. Either way, this is going to require a little bit of rubber and plastic to get done, as will this. This takes a little bit of plastic, so we basically need to get our first little bit of oil refinement up and running before we can get these two milestones done, hopefully then completing all of Tier 5 for today's episode. Alright, so this is the old quartz deposit area that we had a couple episodes ago. We've just got a little bit of wildlife here we want to clear out of the region. Maybe I'll just throw a couple bombs down here. Let them know who's boss. Come on. In you go. There you go. Easy peasy, huh? But anyway, yeah, so I'm actually just going to set up a little miner here. We'll try to get this done quick. I have to get a couple portable miners built in the background. Alright. And with them, get a Mark II miner. And just one constructor. So just going to be making a little bit of quartz. So if we just have a look, we want quartz crystal. It's part of the blueprint that we're going to be using, so it needs 37.5 in. So we'll just set this to 37.5. Remember, we're a little bit low on power, so I'm not going to be setting this up as any like proper main building just yet. It's just to kind of get the ball rolling, get a little bit of quartz crystal made, send it into a container, and then we'll give it to a dimensional depot. I have to go and find one or two Mercer spheres actually before I can place it in the depot. I don't currently have one, but this will be fine for now. No, that was actually really quick, but I just found a Mercer sphere, so we can just easily plug that right in there, and I'll just take a little bit of this with me for now. Alright, cool. So there we go. That is quartz crystal now done. So we'll just do pretty much the exact same thing and just find ourselves a little bit of deuterium and set up some quickwire production in a similar fashion. Alright, so here we are, a nice pure deuterium node in a very unusual spot. You know, this will definitely make for some creative building in the future, but for now, we're just going to tap it in a rather lazy way. I'm actually just going to go with a Mark I miner because we don't have that much power to use, and we don't need that much from this, so for a pure node, a Mark I should be totally fine. Just connect in our smelter, we'll just select deuterium ingot, and then we'll just go with a standard little constructor just down off of it. Like so. Alright, so quick wire, we need 12 per minute rolling in here. So just to keep everything running smoothly and not stop starting, we'll select that to be 80% at 12 per minute. And that's going to require in 36 per minute, so we'll just say same thing here, right? 36 per minute, 30% underclock. Awesome. Now, I don't have power up here just yet, but that's roughly what we're going to need. And then we'll just say a standard little storage container here. And then we'll go with our dimensional depot again on top. And then we have quickwire rolling into our inventory, just like that. All we have to do is just power it. So I'll just grab our power cable here. Alright, I'm back up. Smelter's just turned on. Our first bits of deuterium are rolling out. Deuterium ingots roll down. We'll make our quickwire, and then we'll just send that straight into our inventory. So that's going to allow us, now that these are done, to start building the desert pipeline, as the blueprint that I have includes some quartz crystal and a little bit of quickwire. So it's just good to have that up in the background, even if it is, you know, haphazardly placed out here on the edge of a mountain. Ooh, actually, just from here I can spot another one. Might go get that. Alright, so I've been surveying the area for quite a while, and I think this area is as good as any for deciding where our pipeline's going to come in. The oil is going to be traveling in straight west out in that direction, about 600 meters away from us. This is a fairly good spot because out to my east, there's nothing here really in front of me for quite some distance. There's no deposits, the terrain is relatively low and flat. Obviously, we do just have this kind of in the way, and fun fact, we'll be able to get rid of the hard drive sites themselves in the next patch. But that's not going to help us too much, because obviously the rock outcropping's in the way. Now, this is a bit of a dip in the desert compared to, obviously, that point there, so I think using the dip to our advantage would be good, so we don't have to go up and over too many things, but we do have to clear the road. 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't mind me. You can actually go under that, which is pretty good, but a truck might be just borderline, so maybe we'll go up 2 meters above this spot here. Why have I done this? So basically, it's going to be our anchor point for our now new pipeline infrastructure blueprints. The Spire Stream pipeline is here, so the SSP connection and archway. The archway is going to be our fundamental part of the building, and we're going to connect 2 connection points onto this. Technically 4, I guess, if you consider either side. We'll just use it in just one sec. Now, a little bit of finickiness with this is that we have to nudge it over twice to get it into position. But I did say I'm going to go up by 2, so we'll go 1, 2, and then we'll just connect this across and lock it in. So that's going to be our archway. We're going to switch now to the connection, and we'll do the same thing here where I try to lock it in. There we go, 1, 2, and then this one just snaps into itself, which is fine. And that's basically it. This is the first little bit of layout for our pipeline. So if you just hop up to it really quickly, we can kind of get a feel for the idea here. There's going to be 6 pipelines in total. We have a way of walking up and over it, but we're also going to connect these with zip lines to just roll down them. We've got lights, little light control box on the top because floodlights cannot be controlled independently. So the floodlight box is there. And then they have their own separate cabling for that also. The next part would be, we could also do the undersection if we just want to have a quick look at how that will look. So the archway support top. So everything just connects on the archway. The connection points are just to connect the archways together. Underneath here, we can just press E again and get our archway support bottom. So that's basically what we get. So let's have a look at the overall layout. And the distances of these are actually quite important because it's for the max length of a cable and pipeline. So if we just go here, across 2, and then we go back to the connection point, and then we go across 2, and then it just snaps into itself. So it's basically archway, connection, connection, archway, connection, connection, and that just keeps going on and on and on. And we're going to do that all the way down now until we get to the rock arches down there. So the idea up here now is that the center lines that are hanging down can just connect straight together to form a lovely long zip line between the area. So we can just kind of go from one area to the other by zip lining. Just like so. We'll be traveling along here super fast all the way out to our various oil locations. So that's going to be nice and easy. The next thing, though, is a bit more optional, but I like to do it anyway. It's connecting the power lines on the corners to each other. And this is mostly for the lights. As you can see, it's a bit finicky. You probably want to get right up in there to actually connect them. And these are just the exact distance to fit these cables. So if you didn't really want to connect any of it with cables, which would be weird in my opinion, or if you just wanted to lay out your own cables, you could do archways much more sparsely, I guess, and have longer main connection points. I didn't even think to look at the actual pipelines. Of course, there are 6 oil pipelines here in total for when we do get Mark II pipelines. For now, we're only going to be able to use Mark I, and I'm not going to be using all 6, because that'd be crazy. We don't have the power to support that just yet anyway. Alright, there we have it. So I decided just to put all 6 pipelines in because I had the copper sheets available. I'll probably just be only able to use 2 from now on, but just to give us a kind of a sense of the scale of it, I think it was kind of cool just to fill out at least one of these sections. So now we can just, you know, roll all the way down to the very edge. Alright, so it really wasn't my intention to do this, but I just can't really think of a better way to do it without, like, spending forever clipping things and trying to rotate them. Or just using that pylon method I was talking about. But basically, I've gone with a zigzaggy sort of bridge here as we curve in and around the rock arch to get out to the riverbed that then breaks us out into the ocean. So I think I'm lined up relatively well. Alright, so it's the end of the line, at least for now. So I've come a pretty long way out here in the Spire Coast and snaked my way through the rocky pass there. So if we have a quick look for crude oil, there should be absolutely loads on the Spire Coast. Not sure how much we'll actually get to see in terms of distance, but the idea is that this pipeline is going to run straight west all the way out this way and continue all along until the coast pretty much ends. And then anytime we see crude oil like this in a line, they're all going to combine and just make their way straight north until they join underneath the pipeline and get pumped up. At least that's the idea. So the closest one are going to be these 3 nodes here. 2 of them are impure and 1 is regular. So that's 600 oil that we can currently get. So we'll put that onto 2 different pipelines for now, but obviously in the future that can be just 1 pipeline. So 2 pipelines, and we'll just get them to feed in from somewhere over here, and then I'll get like a little pump tower thing going. I'm trying something a little different than I've ever done before, actually. Just made a new blueprint, and we'll see how this goes. So this is going to cut out to the right, all the way to about there, and then just go straight left and aim for like the middle of the segment or something over that way. Now, I'm not actually going to bring the pipeline along this concrete thing. We'll get rid of this concrete, but it's a sort of a guideline for me. But I've got a new blueprint, so let's check it out. So this is it here. It is a very simple little foundation thing with 2 ramps either side and 2 pipes, right? We'll make one with 3, make another one with 6 or something. But for now, this is just a really basic little block. Well, I think I need to kind of just place it down for you to see how it's going to really work. But I need to get these extractors up and running first. So let's go... Well, extractor, there we are. Yeah, cool. And these can just stay out like no foundation needed, I don't think, on these things. Alright, there we go. So that's my little 2 pipeline lane that leads all the way up to our main pipeline, I guess. So we just need to create a little like kind of vertical tower that just pumps it straight up. Little staircase that maybe helps us get up there. Now, I've just configured the lights to actually come on just during the night. We do have quite a lot of these. I think about 20 or so already, and each light is 6 megawatts, so each one has 2, so we have 12 times 20, which is going to be looking at about 240 megawatts just for the power of the lights to come on. Now, in the future, we'll get the power battery storage, and we could just have it so that they sort of offset the burn rate during the evenings. They'll store up in excess during the day, they'll use that during the night, that kind of thing. So it'll be all good, but yeah, I just thought it was kind of worth mentioning that, you know, if you're really tight in power, which I kind of am, it might be sort of useful not to run the lights for a while. Because I've had to actually shut down the steel factory, because we're about to turn on the oil for the first time. I thought it'd be just kind of fun to actually zipline our way over there, and just get a kind of a general overview for how this place looks. Really happy with how it's coming along so far, and I think it's going to look great. Once it's all in motion, we start slapping on the pumps, which is the next thing. So power is connected all the way down the pipeline, except for down the sub-pipeline all the way out to the oil itself. So we just have to hook that up first thing. Now, I've just built myself a little staircase here. So basically, wherever the branching off point's going to be, which is out that way, I'll just have a little kind of 2-sided staircase that leads down. So it just ramps all the way down, and then around, and all the way down, and around, and so on. We've put the first pumps in. I haven't actually measured the height of this or anything. This height of this pipeline is consistent the entire way out to where the oil is, so it's definitely covered by the first 10 meters of head lift. So I'm pretty confident that the pumps just going right here at the base should be totally fine. Now, these ones could have gone a bit higher, but I just decided for safety, as 20 meters from here is kind of just around there. Just for safety, I'd put another pump just beforehand. Now, in the future, once we get 50 meters of head lift, we could really just have one here, and then at the big incline, that's about there. Another one there would definitely do it. I mean, the first one might even do it, but I just want to be safe. And they're not that big of a power draw anyway. So let's just follow this out, and we'll have a quick look at the oil that we're using as well. So remember, we've got 2 pipelines here. Both of them are going to be 300 per minute oil. In the future, they can combine onto 1 pipeline in total. I was kind of thinking as well, like, could I build a walkway alongside this instead of using the zip line? And I did initially have one. I had a walkway going from like here to there, and then I had a separate walkway going along the bottom, and neither I thought looked that good. So just not really entirely sure what to do. Part of me just thinks a different walkway somewhere else that kind of maybe follows the cliff edge and then just comes down here would probably make the most sense or something. Just that way we kind of keep the aesthetic of our pipeline intact. Anyways, so here we have one of our oil extractors, 134 megawatts of power. It's going to be thirsty, and that's because they're overclocked, and all 3 of them are going to be doing the same. So this is only going to be 150 per minute. That's combining onto the one that's doing another 150 per minute, which is just here. And then the other pipeline, which is all the way at the end, is doing 300 per minute. Alright, so just flying back out towards our pipeline. Of course, the Spire Stream pipeline is going to continue out west for pretty much as far as we can see, as we gather up all of the oil on the Spire coast. And every time we want to send it up somewhere, it's either going to be on this tile, or on the other one. Actually, no, sorry, it will either be here or here. There's only 2 foundations. So it's either going to be in the center, or it's going to be on the center of this foundation. So it should be straightforward to kind of build a replica of this anytime we need the oil to actually go up, and 2 pumps, or 1, like we said in the future, is plenty. Alright, cool. So this needs power to be drawn all the way upstairs. So it's probably going to have to be a bit temporary. I'm just going to drag this through the ground. I'll find a way to make it look a bit neater in future. But just to get us hooked up and started, I will just plug it in somewhere like here. We'll climb up our little ladder here and just connect this into the top right. Okay, so that should mean that our pumps are now activated here. And if we check the power line itself, that means the oil should be activated too. So yeah, considerable bump. So our max consumption is way above where my actual production is, right? We could blow a fuse by 600 megawatts right now if everything did turn on all at once. So it's going to be interesting now to see how the oil, I mean, it's going to take a while to get in here, and we want to start forward planning the pumps a little bit better, so let's do that. So just run back upstairs. I'm going to go to the incline spot now, and then we'll start laying out some pumps. Right, so this is where the first major incline is going to be, and we're really only focusing on these 2 pipelines for now. In the future, we'll use all 6, and in the future, these will be Mark II. So, yeah, but it just means that we'll probably have Mark II pumps by then, so we really don't need to be putting pumps on those sides just yet. So I'm just going to throw down a junction here as my anchor, and then grabbing the pump itself, just get down to the ground, face it the correct direction. And there we go. I'll just have to eyeball this one, just try to make it fairly line up, fairly similar. Okay, that was pretty easy. Now, I'm just going to do the same with power here. I'll just grab a little power node, pop it there, attach these 2, and this one can go all the way up top to meet with its little buddy. Alright, so that's those 2. Now, I've been coloring this stuff blue. I've just called this color blue-royal. So the way I'm going for color schemes in this is the kind of main color name, and then maybe like a subtitle of whatever else it is. It's faded, royal, whatever, you know. So we just got blue, and all of these colors are available in my blueprint thing online. So just whatdarrenplays.com/satisfactory, you can get all my color codes. Now, you will notice that if this was a Mark II, it could go 50 meters. Being a Mark I, it can only go 20, so the likelihood of getting all the way up this incline, very low. So let's try and see how far we can actually go. So if we start with a wall here to be safe, we know we can go up to 5, that's 20 meters. Just hover up to this spot, and then just bring that all the way across. So that's where our 20 meter mark, our safe zone. You know, we could probably go a little higher than that, but just to be safe, we'll say somewhere around here. Alright, so just get rid of this now. Filter just the wall only, and then remove that. Cool. Alright, so again, to be playing it just a little bit safer, just start here. I could probably move that over, actually, thinking about it. Not there. Alright, we'll get our pump, snap it in, and then try to just line this one up, broadly speaking, with the other one. Sunrise. Alright, so let's go there, and this can just come up to here. Do the same thing we did before, basically. There we go. Alright, so they should be active now. Ooh, we've got a green light. That means it's actually pumping liquid, which means our oil has made it all the way up here already. Cool. I'm just going to make that unpainted as well. Alright, nice. So, a bit concerning that only one of them has made it. The other line is a little bit longer, so we'll just give it a couple minutes before I really start to panic. I suppose if I was being a little finicky here, I probably should have angled the pump just a little bit better so it's not clipping through the walkway. That's going to be a bit of a challenge, especially for the pipes that are directly under it, but we can always reverse this so it's upside down, and you wouldn't really even notice it. That's good to see. Do we have both of them lit up now? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Awesome. Alright, cool. So it works. Oil is now filling up both of the pipelines. I'm just going to let this completely get, you know, chock-a-block, totally full and backed up, and then we'll just handle it on its way out at the other end. So let's just, yeah, meet back at the other side. Alright, so this is where there's another incline. I was going to say I'd almost wager that 20 meters could have made it all the way up here, but but probably not. So we'll have to do the same one last time just here. Alright, here we are, where it all started. So that was just kind of one day in-game. Not too bad. I do actually have a mod running. This is called Sky UI. So pressing Control L opens it up, and it allows me to change the time of day. I basically got this because, you know, I was often recording at nighttime, so I've changed the nighttime length to only be 12 minutes, and the total day is 2 hours. So I guess in total, it took just over 2 hours to build the entire thing and get it all up and running, so not too bad. And that gave us about, 12 minutes there during the night to kind of enjoy what it looks like when the lights come on. And you could just sort of change this quite dynamically, just by scrolling and moving things. The only thing that kind of bothers me with it is there's a really cool metric that you can check in the hub, which shows you how many days have passed without incident. My days have just become way, way longer because I've extended them massively, so that counter is kind of not reflective of the real in-game time in some ways. But other than that, it's still really, really great quality of life type mod. Ooh, and I should mention that it doesn't affect the game or save at all, so if you download my save, you don't need the mod. It is purely a cosmetic thing. So yeah, it doesn't really affect anything. Right, so I would say that the Spire Coast pipeline is now largely done. It just needs to be extended, and that's just really dependent on me getting more materials and stuff. The next thing is going to be the distribution building. Now this is total pie in the sky stuff. I don't really know exactly how it's going to go down. I just know that somewhere here it would be good to have our first sort of building where we're able to store up fluid in vats or in various fluid buffers, and then we can assign it different exits and entry points and choose to add pumps or not if we want it to go up even higher. So that's the plan. So it doesn't need to be that big of a building. It's only taking in these 6 pipelines, so it really only needs to be, this is, 2 foundations across, 2.5 really when it's all combined. So I'd say 5 foundations across would be more than enough, but maybe, again, just to play it safe, maybe something like 6 would be a good number to have. Alright, so there we go. So pretty straightforward. All the pipes just kind of fork into a little fluid buffer of their own. So if we want to check that everything's working, now we'll just connect these 2 up. These are the ones that have oil, and we should start seeing the buffers fill. Just paint those appropriate color. And yeah, we'll just have a look down here. So we should expect to see this start to fill up. There we go. It's already getting its little bits. Alright, and just like that, we can see 300 per minute oil is flooding in. So this thing is filling up super fast, so no problem at all. And we've got the first 2 already filling, so that's great. The next 4, they're not going to do anything for a little while, but they're here and ready to go should we wish to connect the rest of the pipes and make sure the Spire Coast has been fully drained. Now, in the future, like we said, these could actually have a capacity of 600 per minute, so we'll be dealing with a way higher quantity volume of oil. But we're set now. We've got 6 little outlets for deciding what we want to do with our oil. Really, we're just going to be using these 2, and I'll build another building just further over, and that's going to be our first building handling oil, utilizing it for plastic and rubber, and then we're going to take the heavy oil residue and make that into fuel. So, yeah. Alright, so I've basically just designed my first little crude refinery here in the Blueprint Designer. I think once I get the Mark II Blueprint Designer, I'm going to be able to make way better and more interesting and more generic, but in a good way, blueprints that can be a bit more versatile and change recipes depending on what we need them for. It'll make sense a little later down the line. If you've ever watched my streams, you know what I'm talking about, where often I end up building many different variants of what ends up being the same thing because I'm trying to change the directions, but now I want to kind of create a universal blueprint. Anyways, I need a Mark II to really be able to do it. But for now, we're totally good, right? We need crude oil in and plastic out, or we'll do crude oil in and rubber out. The only difference between these 2 recipes, obviously one does rubber and one does plastic, is that one has a higher volume of heavy oil residue. Now, residue and rubber, anything that comes out of this machine, needs to continuously run for the machine to continuously run, so we always have to provide it with an outlet. And this is, excuse me, this is where one of the difficult things comes for in the game, where you can't really just drain liquids, right? Unlike real life, we can't just pump it into the sea or something. We have to do something with it in order for this machine to stay operational. If we let heavy oil residue get backed up, the manual way to get rid of it will be to flush the segment, right? But obviously we're not going to do that. We want to actually turn it into something and then get rid of it, either by sinking it in an awesome sink or by using it in factories and stuff like that. So that'll just have to be accounted for. The first little factory that we're going to go for here is 200 rubber per minute and 200 plastic per minute. That's going to be 10 machines of each. So each one of these is 30 megawatts. So 30, obviously, times 10 is 300, times 2, because we have 2 rows of them. It's going to be 600 megawatts is what we'll need. after we get the heavy oil residue, the plan for me at least is to turn that into fuel. So we're going to use residual fuel, 60 per minute, which will give us 40 fuel per minute. So with 10 times 20, that'll be 200 per minute, and then 10 times 10 for the other recipe, that'll be 100. So we'll get 300 per minute. So that'll basically give us 200 fuel per minute, and we should be able to burn that in about 10 generators. Or we could save one of them and turn it into jetpack fuel or something else. So yeah, that's basically the plan for now. Alright, so coming back over to our distribution platform here, and soon to be building. I'm sure we'll have multiple floors eventually, but for now, I think what I'm probably going to do is just grab a lane and send it off this direction, and grab another lane, send it off that direction, just somewhere beyond this rocky outcropping here. We'll just build a new factory. The great thing is it'll be lower down than this one, so we don't need any more pumps or anything like that. And if anything, we could actually bring the pipeline down and straight across if we want to. So I'm just going to have to kind of work out a general height that I want to work with here. Now, because my main pipeline is going to be rolling down here, and we're going to have 2 pipelines, and then they're both going into 10 refineries each, we can basically take the rubber that we just made, stick it in the corner just somewhere like here. It doesn't really matter if it's lined up at the center point, but I guess OCD will try to do it, and this is in the center of 2 foundations. Yeah, that's fine by me. Alright, so this will be aiming out towards the left. That's okay. Alright, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Now, normally I would bake these in with the blueprint, I mean, with the power already hooked up, but I haven't done that this time. Like I said, with the Mark II power poles, we'll do, or Mark II blueprint designer, we'll do something like that, and we're not too far away from that now once we get this plastic and rubber up and running. So that was the rubber. Let's try the plastic, which is going the opposite direction. So if we line that up in the same spot, this is in the middle, so that's all good. So this is coming into the center as well now. Great. All right, so let's go 1. I don't know if I'll have enough material, actually. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, ran out of platform, but hopefully we're okay. Ooh, we're just about okay. Nailed it. Okay, so I've just done a little bit of cosmetic flair. I painted a couple things. I've hooked up the power poles. Now, we're not actually hooked up to mains power just yet, but we're making progress. Each machine now has its own dedicated pole, and they're all nice and neat and tidy. Now, remember, these ones are the ones doing plastic. Those are the ones doing rubber, so I kind of thought that some of the plastic could be used for packaging. I am leaning towards not using packaged fuel, but I suppose it's just good to have the option in case we do decide we need it. At the moment, we're fine for coal running on our vehicles, and for the jetpack, I'd like to use liquid biofuel, as we can use it to put some of the vegetation to use, and it also burns longer and slower so that you can kind of go further in the jetpack. So I always prefer having that. It's just a question of, well, anyway, we'll get to that. But yeah, so I just think, just to keep my options open, we'll do the residual fuel refinery down here. And we'll just move this across, tuck it in like so. And we need 5 of these, right? Because it's, I think we've got 300 heavy oil residue. And that means, divided by 60, we could do 5 of these. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sweet. And if this is done okay, this will even just snap straight in there. Which it is. Awesome. So we'll just connect these all the way across. And then the 200 fuel that we get out, we can use all of that in power rather than having to pop it into a packager. However, we do have room here now for a packager, and we have plastic right next to us, so it's like, maybe. Maybe. But I like to think for now we just don't really need it. So just hook these up together again. So that means we now can decide where the fuel generators are going to go. There's 2 lovely coal deposits here. There's sulfur not far off, I think. And that'd be perfect for turbo fuel in the future. Like I said, we want this to be a bit of a dynamic area where we can think about what's around us and not have to change too much in order to get advanced recipes. So I'm trying to build with that in mind. However, one other thing that we need in this area is a road coming in and a road going out. We obviously have our road blueprint, and we have the plastic and the rubber meeting here in the middle. So if we come out down the center, maybe put a station here and then another station here, we can have the road come straight down. That way we can pick up whatever we need and then just drive out. That should be fine. I don't think anything is coming into this place. It's just stuff going to be going out for now. So yeah, at least that's the plan. So let's get building the road next then, I guess. I'll tell you what, in order to space out the truck stations just a little bit more effectively, I'm going to move this down to about here. And we'll have the input aligned with one of these. So this is just over to the right, so that's totally fine. Bring this right to the edge. So, if that's going to be our input, and this is one of our mergers here, it means that we'll have to reverse the direction of a few of these mergers. So, just do 3 of them going the other direction. So then I'll just get rid of this. So why do I stack them on top? It's just so that I can easily anchor the other ones back in position then. Get rid of these. Get rid of that. And then just have to replace the Mark 1 lifts also. Right, so this is going to be the one that's actually bringing its stuff out. So we'll just go with the Mark 3, and then straight in there. Nice. Now the reason I left a decent amount of space here is because we're going to also want an awesome sink to overflow into once this place is full. We need that to keep everything running. So I'm going to do the same thing basically here, right? So this is going to be one of the next outputs. Right, so awesome sink going into there. We'll do a Mark 4 belt going into the end. This is our smart splitter. We'll say overflow out the left. Now we need to get the other one to join us. We'll do a similar sort of thing here. So we'll just grab this, pop it somewhere like there. Bit of an anchor. So we'll say again, overflow. This time overflow is going to go, well, it could go at the left, I guess. Yeah, sure, why not? But we're going to have to go up and over, so do something like that. Keep it Mark 3. And then down here, which is pretty far away, Mark 3'd out of its mind, and in you go. Right, so now both overflows continue on into the one awesome sink. We could also then just connect this up like that. Still doesn't have power just yet. Okay, cool. These truck stations then also need power, so we'll just give them a power pole each. Okay. Trucks are going to be told to load here, so that's totally fine. Then we need to cordon this area off a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so that can just continue pretty much straight across now. I hope that's just aligned. That would make life really easy if it is. So let's see. Alright, boom. Just like that, we have a little turn off that now leads down into our new part of the factory, and this is going to continue down the right, and then we can do our loop and come back out this way. At least that's the idea. So I wonder, I suppose I could actually just get rid of this and continue it as a road the entire way down. Alright, there we go. That was super smooth, super easy. So our new road is in place, so we drive down, we cut in, and we come around. There might be a way to go out to the right or something in future, so, you know, leave our options open. Now, I just quickly ran out to go fetch myself a few extra Mercer spheres, so now we can just hook up a dimensional depot. So once this thing fills up, first priority kind of goes into the dimensional depot until it gets backed up. So I quite like that setup. It's fairly basic. Instead of using an additional storage buffer container, we don't really need that. Truck station is the buffer, and this can just feed in there. Alright, nice. So that should get us set up. Now let's just power this on, and hopefully everything will run up and ramp up to 100%. Alright, I'm just lazily gonna plug that straight in there. I'll clean up these power poles a bit later, but this should give everything power now. Ooh, it actually hasn't. I can see all the refineries to the right are good, but the one here looks like it's disconnected, so let's just bring that across. There we go. So that's it. They all have fuel, or oil at least, and they should be producing their first batches of plastic right now. That's as easy as that. And we need, I don't know how much we need. A few hundred, I think, a couple stacks. It's actually interesting how quickly they all got ramped up, because what I was going to say is, what we could do in order to make sure all the machines get completely filled is just disconnect our output. And then this way they would all completely fill up. Ooh, got another machine here without power hooked up to it. My bad. Just grab this one, stick it there. Alright. But I'm pretty confident it'll be okay, unless I notice some problem where some of the machines aren't running at 100%. I guess I don't really have to do that. We'll just let things go as they are. Look at that, there we go. Just straight up plastic rolling into my dimensional depot. And subsequently, rubber doing the same thing. Love to see it. I'll have to add a little area here for maybe parking some of our tractors. And maybe down on the other end as well. But yeah, I'm just going to let this build up now a little bit, and then we'll go and do the next milestone. Okay, so all of the rubber is now completely paused, so I'm just going to connect this across, and we'll just give it a little color. So now heavy oil can actually make its way out. It might struggle a little bit to do so just at first, but it should flood the pipe all the way down 300 per minute. That should roll into these 5 fuel refineries. And then they should fill our little buffers for a while. Once the buffers are full, we'll just keep emptying them out to keep everything running. But things are looking pretty good so far. We have nearly 600 plastic in the truck station, nearly 600 rubber. We'd expect to see similar amounts. And nothing having to go into the overflow just yet. Well, I'm going to take these stacks and we're going to go do the next milestone. Alright, so should have everything we need now for the fluid packaging milestone. So the interesting thing here is we can get packaged liquid biofuel and liquid biofuel itself. These are going to be great, especially for the jetpack, but in the future I might even use them for vehicles. I do that in my little stream world at the moment, where we actually use drones to distribute biofuel to every place that needs a truck station, and I've got like 100,000 biofuel, because you get so much when you sloop it that it's just ridiculously good. It's actually like really, really good, although it's technically not automated, but it's very easy to get in high volume. Alright, so let's feed all of this. Let's press the big button. So in order to make liquid biofuel, we need solid biofuel, and I've already been slooping it, so I get quite a decent amount. So we've got 2,000 here, and I think I've got 4,000 back at my iron production. So now it would be a matter of basically getting a refinery. So if we just build even one temporarily here, choosing liquid biofuel. So we need to mix in water and solid biofuel, sloop it to get double the output, so that our 90 per minute, which would become 60, will become 120. So it'll give us a huge amount, and then we package it back up by using some plastic, and then we can use it to jetpack around. I think we'll do that in the next episode. Alright, I'm seeing green lights on every machine. It's a little hard to tell with the hue of the sun, but I ain't seen no flickering. Things are looking pretty good. Even all the fuel refineries are doing pretty well. Let's check how much fuel we've made then. Yeah, we're almost full, but not quite yet. So the next milestone is going to be petroleum power. We'll just drain this all out. Spill that precious liquid gold into the sand. Our depots are full up as well, so yeah, everything is working kind of a little too well. Suspiciously well. Now, I think with true amount of time would be the true test against this place. Because of course we are bringing in 300 per minute oil, but it is coming like 4 kilometers away west. I mean, the pumping station is all the way out here, and then the actual oil is coming from this area roughly around here, right? So it is coming a tremendous distance, and this is only not even scratching the surface. We're going to be getting some from all the way out here in the future, so hopefully, I mean, it does seem to be working just fine. So yeah, I've kind of been a little too easy. I'm just knowing this game, it just makes me think like, no, something's going to go wrong somewhere, but I guess we'll leave it until something breaks. We'll just consider it working. Alright, it's back. We're just about. So I pretty much got everything I need, I think, on me now to get the next milestone done, and then we're going to build just a few little fuel generators and boost our power and turn back on all the factories I've had to turn off. Alright, there we are. Toss it all in. Off you go. Boom. Let's make it into little round trips. So what does it actually cost to build this thing? I can never remember. The fuel power generator, it costs motors, encased beams, copper sheeting, rubber, and quick wire. Ooh, quick wire. Well, we don't really... Oh, I do kind of. Oh, yeah, I totally meant it. Yeah, I knew what I was doing when I was setting that up. Of course. Now, just really quickly, we'll test this out. So I'm just going to throw down a generator here. A great tip that I learned, I didn't think that you could ever know what the burn rate of fuel is until you actually plugged a pipe in. But if you click this little icon here, bonk, you can actually see that the burn rate of fuel is 20 per minute, which is the same as liquid biofuel. It's not quite the same when it's in your jetpack. So 20 per minute. Now we're going to overclock each one of these. So it's going to be 50 per minute. All right, and there is number 4. So that's pretty straightforward. We'll just give them a junction here, another junction there. Connect both of these in. for a little flair, we'll do unpainted on the junctions. And then this is just going to go straight across, so let's just get rid of that for a second. Just join that straight over there. Now, these won't turn on until we actually feed them fuel. And to help this along without wasting the fuel I've got here, I'm just going to plug this in really quickly. So just drain these out. Hopefully that's the right direction. I don't have a valve on this actually right now. Do we have valves even? Oh yeah, we do. So you go that way. So I'm just going to drain these, making sure they're going onto the same network, and that should all be going kind of roughly that way, generally speaking anyway. Okay, cool. Anyways, that's just temporary. We'll get rid of that. But yeah, so let's just go with the... I have to find the power thing is at the back. There it is right there. So just to line this up maybe nicely. Alright, and just like that, that is powered on. This is powered on. Alright, and let's get this in the center. I'd say somewhere about there. Lock that in, and boom. Now we've got an extra production, an extra 1,000 megawatts of production. Pretty good. Can we not do more though now? Yes, we can. Copy those settings, please. Paste them onto that one. You can hear the high-pitched noise as they ramp up. Right, so now they are burning 50 megawatts per minute, and we can see the power curve has just climbed up to 5,200 per minute. So nothing too dramatic, you know, but at least we're making use of the heavy oil residue that we're getting in excess. So 625 megawatts, so 625 times 4. This is 2,500 extra megawatts of power. So just a nice little boost. Little boost pays for itself. Runs all of these refineries, doesn't it? So that works out quite nicely. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, everything is back up and running in the world. Things are looking pretty good, actually. So if we just have a quick look at one of our power poles here, we can see what we're making right now. So this is our line. It's got a little bit of fluctuations on it. I want to kind of smoothen that out over the next episode if I can, as we look to rebuild the iron factory, the modular frame factory, build like a dedicated iron factory that does everything. That'd be nice. But yeah, the power line super steady, 5,200 megawatts. Really happy with that. Obviously, we could just now start tapping more oil, pumping it onto the same pipeline. The majority of the work is done for us there. It all arrives now into the same place. So we could now just more seriously do a bigger fuel refinement if we want to give ourselves a bit more room for power, which I think we'll do. The next couple of milestones are going to be easy enough. So we've finished Tier 5 now completely. Tier 6, industrial manufacturing. It's going to allow us to make computers, heavy modular frames, and modular engines, allowing us to tackle the second component and the third component in completing Phase 3. We're going to unlock trains at the same time. So motors, encased beams, that stuff is easy. After that, though, we're actually going to have to make the computers, make the heavy modular frames. So it's a little frustrating that railway signaling needs the computers, because you can actually just get up and running with the trains without that. However, I think what the focus for the next episode is going to be is probably bigger power and then fuel refinement of liquid biofuel as well as regular fuel. So that's probably what we're going to be working on, and then working on redoing the original iron factory and just cleaning up some of the last little bits of remnants in the world from the beginning of the game. But yeah, other than that, it's smooth sailing from here on out, obviously. I thought before we wrap up as well, we could just take a quick look at the cinematic shots of the pipeline and just a kind of a summary of everything that we've built today. So heading back out west to the Spire coast, we have this is probably my favorite biome here. It's just very high contrast area. The color grading has really rich oranges, deep blues, very tropical feeling. It just looks really nice. Of course, we have our two pipelines here, 300 oil each coming in. Moving along the cliffs, making their way up our various little pumping stations and our segments where we have to pump it up various inclines, and we bring it back into the dune desert then by snaking around the awkward sort of rocky paths there. And you get some really nice diversity where the sort of jungle meets the desert, and then we get properly into the dunes where we can see our sort of makeshift distribution platform, our first little refinery center where we're doing the 200 plastic, 200 rubber, the byproduct of which is the heavy oil. Combining that all into one pipe is 300 oil. That goes on to 5 refineries then doing fuel. And that just goes into some fuel generators. We built a little road so then we can access this place and distribute the goods if we wish. And that's pretty much it. Just want to take a moment to say apologies again for taking so long between videos. I was just really sick. I'm still not fully over it and quite weak-chested, if I'll be honest. But hopefully, anyway, feeling better now to just continue and get things out more regularly. That's going to be all from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.